Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, Nonstop Talking with your girl here, Vivian Liu. Today I will be discussing the worst books I read in 2023. So in 2023, I felt like I read a lot of books I felt very mediocre about, but I didn't want to create a disappointing list. I feel like by this time I should be done with my year-end videos. Why am I so behind? So I just did my best to narrow it down as much as possible and just do one worst slash most disappointing list all together. There's a total of I think 12 titles, so let's get started. At number 12 is The Memory Police by Yoko Ogawa. So the concept for this book is very intriguing, and while I was reading it I was like, wow, this is really interesting, and I'm waiting for the ball to drop, and unfortunately nothing happens. The ball never drops. You just die waiting. And it was kind of funny because while I was reading it, I was putting progress updates on my IG stories, and someone I know in real life commented hey, I read that book somewhat recently, and let me just tell you, you waiting for this ball to drop, it's never gonna happen. And so I just want to put that out there because I wasn't the only person who felt like nothing happens in this book. There's so much build up, and you're just okay, when is it happening? And then it just slowly just dies out, and that's the conclusion. So it was very, very disappointing. The premise is that there's these group of people who live on this island, and they're slowly forced to forget things, and it starts off with little things and it becomes big things. And yeah. Number 11 is Through You by Ariana Godoy. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. But yeah, so I watched the movie Through My Window on Netflix, enjoyed it so much that I read the book that it was based on, and then picked up the sequel. And unfortunately, this sequel didn't deliver. So it uses one of my most hated, I just absolutely detest this romance trope, and it happens here, and there's just no going back from that. It's just one thing I cannot stand. And I'm not going to go into detail because then I'll go into spoilers, but yeah, something happens, and that's just something that I don't like. So it's just automatic no. And then I think in terms of the male interest, there were just a lot of moments when I was reading it that I was just he's just a habitually angry man child. What is attractive about him? I don't understand. So yeah, Through You just didn't work for me. And I did buy the third book on Kindle, and I have it. It came out towards the latter half of 2023. I haven't picked it up yet, but I will. Number 10 is Seducing My Guardian by Katie Robert. So this is the fourth book in A Touch of Taboo series, and I really got a kick out of the first book. So I was I think with this author, you know what you're getting into, which is some good old smut. Unfortunately, Seducing My Guardian just didn't fit my taste. It just wasn't for me. In addition, I also thought the ending was weak. But yeah, so in this story, I think this one person who's an orphan, she turns 25 and decides to I don't know, take a chance, hit on her guardian. Sexy times happen, and I just wasn't for it. Number 9 is Our Chemical Hearts by Crystal Sutherland. I picked this up because in 2023, I also read House of Hollow, which I really enjoyed. It's on my favorites list. And I was you know what? I'm gonna pick up more from this author. So I decided to go all the way back and pick up her debut novel, which is Our Chemical Hearts. And I would say I understand when it came out, and people who read it at that time, I understand why they loved the book. But for me, it just didn't work. I felt a lot of the characters were caricatures, they had to fit into their typical YA stereotype role. In addition to that, I just felt the plot itself was a little overdone. So I kind of like thought it was boring, but it centers around your two main characters, Henry and the new girl Grace. They're both supposed to be co-editors for the school newspaper. Grace comes in with like a lot of secrets, and Henry just kind of wants to like crack them, wants to know her secrets. Number 8 is Milk Fed by Melissa Broder. I not like first of all, I want to apologize because I think not liking Milk Fed is definitely a me problem, and no one else. I went into this with the wrong idea, and the wrong expectations. And when I was reading it, I was just like, this is not what I wanted. This is not what I expected. And I didn't enjoy it because of that. But I felt like that was my problem. Like, should have done better research. I don't know. But yeah, I also, because I went into it with my incorrect mindset, I also found it boring. Number 7 is Match by Ali Condi. I sometimes like to go back and read the popular YA trilogies and series that were coming out during a time when I had taken a hiatus from reading. And Match just didn't work. It definitely felt like one of those YA books where it came off as, I am too old to read YA. For me, it felt like it was an inferior version of The Giver. This is a dystopian novel where in this very strict society, your partner that is selected for you, like who you're supposed to marry. And I just think at this point in my life, I may have picked up Match a little bit too late because everything just felt really recycled. Number 6, I'm not sure if I'm saying the title correctly, Elysium by Nora Sakavic. So when I randomly stumbled upon the fact that Nora Sakavic, who is the creator of The Foxhole Court, which I absolutely adore to bits and pieces and will forever love, had published something else, I jumped on it, picked up the audiobook. It was surprisingly available on my library app. And the entire time I was like, should I drop it? Should I drop it? Do I need to finish it? I was like, I love The Foxhole Court so much, let's just get to the end. But was it worth it? I don't know. It was just not vibing with me, and it's hard to pinpoint what about it didn't work, but I just think the whole book and me we were not on the same page. Number 5 is The Virgin Suicides by Jeffrey, I cannot pronounce that last name. I'm not gonna try. Sorry. Wow, I'm giving so low effort here. I'm so sorry. But yes, The Virgin Suicides. I actually watched the movie trailer a while back and thought wow, this story sounds really interesting. I should pick up the book first. And I eventually did, and now the movie is super low on my watch next list. Sorry. And so in this book, there's this family with a lot of daughters, and they're all beautiful and suicidal. And there is this group of I guess neighborhood boys who are just captivated by them. And I was hoping for more. I wanted it to really come off as pretentious and tragic and precocious and just give me all that feeling, and it really didn't. And I do feel in a way the title is kind of a lie. I never got invested in any of the daughters or any of the characters, and in addition to that, it might be me and my stupidity, but I didn't find anything about it it was just very lackluster. Number 4 is Hooked by Emily McIntyre. So with Hook, I felt it was advertised as a dark romance and then it didn't deliver as a dark romance. Was it dark? No, I think it failed on that aspect just a bit. So it's inspired by Peter Pan in a way. You have James, aka Hook, who is a crime boss, drug lord dude, and he's left orphaned because of Peter. And then Peter has a daughter, Wendy, and Wendy is you're not like other girls, goody two shoes. And so Peter decides to like, sorry, not Peter, Hook decides to exact his revenge on Peter by getting to him through his daughter. So with this, I just felt like the shock factor was really low, and I was hoping to be like gasping, but that never happened. In addition to that, I felt that the main couple, like, I wasn't really rooting for them. Like, I didn't buy into their romance. Number 3 is Twisted Love by Anna Huang. And so I now think this book is overhyped. Unfortunately, it's about Ava Chen, who falls for her older brother's best friend Alex, who's just like involved in a lot of really complex stuff. I think this is also considered maybe a dark romance as well. No, I don't think so. But yes, so this book like was just all over the place for a period of time. I finally decided to pick it up, and it makes me really sad that I didn't like it, because I had hopes coming in that I would. I think from like the main characters to the side characters, everyone just annoyed me. And then the confession in this was so cheesy, and like the grand like scheming and plotting was just very lame. So those are like your words, like annoying, cheesy, and lame. Number 2 is One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston, and I'm so sorry for this. I actually bought the book, maybe even pre-ordered it, and so I had it like right when it came out, and I was gonna pick it up, and I tried picking it up, and I tried picking it up again, and for whatever reason I just could not get into the story, and it's just been sitting pretty on my shelf for like the longest time, and I finally decided this is it. In 2023 I am gonna complete this story, and I did, and I just didn't really like it. I also didn't really like understand it, like it lacked like purpose to me. But yeah, so in this you have, I believe, August. She meets this like really cool person, Jane, on the New York City subway, but Jane isn't actually there like physically. It really, really hurt when I got to the end of One Last Stop and knowing that I would not like it, just because I really, really loved Red, White, and Royal Blue by the same author, and I was just like hoping for like repeated success for her. Before I get to my worst read of 2023, I'm gonna go over the DNFs real quick. There were only like 2. One of them wasn't even a 2023 DNF. So the first one is You by Caroline Kepnes. This was, like I said, technically not a DNF from 2023, but I think I just have to come to terms that I will never pick this up and will never actually read it, and I just have to like actually just give it closure. Close that book. It's done. It's over. It started off really good, and I was super like invested and intrigued. However, something else was going on in my real life, and I needed to put it down, and then I kind of like associated with what was going on, and like then like I just don't feel like ever picking it up. So it's just wrong place, wrong time. It's not the book's fault. It's totally all on me. The next one was an Amazon recommendation, and it's The Music of What Happened by Bill. I cannot say this last name, I think, so I'm not gonna try. Seriously, I apologize for the slow effort, but the show must go on. Yeah, when I was reading the synopsis, I thought this would be something that would be right up my alley. Unfortunately, it wasn't. I like barely made a dent, and I could already tell like this just was not gonna be for me. And I decided, yeah, like let's not try to push through. It's okay, just let it go, drop it. Number 1 is No Longer Human by Junji Ito, and the reason why it's in the number 1 spot is after looking at like everything, this was the only thing that I rated 1 star for in 2023. I was actually really nice in 2023, like damn. So yeah, with it being like one of just like the lowest ratings, like I mean, it's a no-brainer that it would be at the number 1 spot, even though I feel really bad because I think in terms of like art, Junji Ito's art is like amazing, and I think for this one where it didn't work was the plot. But the plot itself is from a short story that he didn't write. And it's just about this man that's just like his life is spiraling out of control, and it just felt really repetitive. Like all the spirals were just him doing the same stuff to like ruin himself over and over again. And I just was like, I'm kind of bored and I'm kind of angry, and yeah, just like the plot just didn't work for me. I apologize for like the really low energy and low effort. I'm just trying to get through all these year-end videos within this weekend's time span, and I think I'm gonna get there. I just need one more. Maybe I won't even do that one, but that has me reconsidering a lot of things. With that being said, that's it for my ranking the worst books I read in 2023. I think in terms of like reading in 2023, I would say there was no like I said, distinct favorites, which is what I mentioned in my favorites video. But when I look at like the worst, it's not that like things were like really like bad. I think a lot of things just like didn't work for me, so it's more so like disappointing than like objectively like it was terrible. So yeah, I would say like hopefully in like 2024 I'll have like books I actually just feel like super duper like excited to like share and like recommend, and like even like a book that like I just like hate to my core and like would actually want to just like talk about how much I disliked it, how much it hurt me, and how mad it made me, or like something like that. Like I just felt like everything was just like really calm and peaceful. Like it just didn't work for me. It's a me thing. If all goes according to plan, the next video should be the most like surprising things I watched in 2023, because there were just so many favorites and not everyone can make it onto the favorites list, unfortunately. But yeah, extra time, like, comment, subscribe. See you in my next video whenever that is. Bye.